Hello everyone and welcome to the Frequency File. This is a video series that is dedicated to teaching people how to use electronic frequency to improve your health and lifestyle in general, one would hope. One of the things about frequency is that it is effective, and so we ask you not to listen to these sounds while driving or using any kind of machinery. And you don't listen to these sounds if you have a pacemaker or another electronic device of some sort or implant. These sounds are to be used only as an adjunct to whatever current therapy you are using. And it is always a good idea to talk to your doctor or healthcare practitioner before starting any new treatment or changing the treatment that you are on. So please be sure to check with your doctor or healthcare provider before starting any new program. I'd just like to say also that I am not a healthcare professional. I have had Lyme disease for 26 years, and so in that time I have studied an awful lot about how to survive it and what kinds of things could be effective for others as well. I was originally bitten in 1996, as near as I can remember. Got me right there. And this tick was so small, I saw it, and you could have gotten 100 of them on your thumbnail. That's how small it was. And I ended up getting not only the initial Borrelia infection, but Bartonella, Babesia, Ehrlichia, all of them. Seems very strange that that would all be loaded into one little tick, but apparently this is the experience of a lot of people, and there's all kinds of theories as to why that is, and we won't be going into those in this particular video series. We're just going to talk about how we can use frequency, and mostly applied to Lyme, but I certainly will be talking in later videos about other applications for frequency healing as well. So what is frequency healing? Well, back in the 1930s, a man by the name of Royal Raymond Rife, and that's R-I-F-E, discovered that using sound or frequency could affect the human body and in ways that could be used for healing. So it kind of works on the same principle. I'm sure some of you are familiar with what happens when an opera singer, for instance, hits a note that vibrates at the same frequency as a wine glass or a glass of some sort. Well, if they sing that note loud enough, the frequency kind of attaches itself to the frequency of the wine glass, and it starts to vibrate, and it vibrates to the extent that it just breaks. So this is apparently the same thing that happens to bacterial cells, cancer cells, other types of cells in the body. If they are intrusive types of cells, then these frequencies can actually vibrate to the point where these little cells will explode. And frequency can reach into every part of the body, unlike antibiotics or some prescription medications like antibiotics, which cannot penetrate something called a biofilm, which is like a white around an egg yolk that Lyme disease creates to protect itself when it's trying to replicate itself inside the body. So everything vibrates to a frequency, and that includes all of our internal organs as well. And sometimes they get, when illness is present, that's usually when the organ also starts to vibrate outside of its normal range of frequency. And so you can play the frequency for liver, for instance, and it will help to bring your liver back into proper functionality. These things, it sounds magical, but it can be very, very effective. And like anything, for some odd reason, it seems to work better for some people than it does for others. However, I have not experienced where frequency has ever harmed anyone. So if it doesn't work for you, you feel a little uncomfortable or whatever, you just turn it off. The other thing is that frequency can be tolerated. Like say, for instance, a person maybe can't take a particular medication, or it hits them too hard or whatever. You can try a little bit of it on frequency, or the frequency of that thing if it's on file. And sometimes that particular form of an herb, for instance, will get through to the body and be effective where actually taking the herb might not be tolerated. So how do we listen to frequency? Where do we get it? And how do we choose the right ones for our situation? Well, I'm just going to use a Lyme disease as an example. Let's try Bartonella, which is a very bad one for a lot of people. So what we want to do is have something that we can listen to the frequency on, and usually you can just use your computer speakers. If you have like a headset, a little pair of headphones or earbuds or whatever, you can pop those in. You can also use other devices that are available for sale, and we will be talking about more of those later in the series. These devices can amplify the frequency, and they can also transmit it into the room silently so that you can listen or at least enjoy the effects of frequency while you sleep, or if you don't want it on while you're listening to television or whatever. So there's a couple of different things, and as I mentioned, we will be getting into that. However, first, how do you find frequency? Well, you log on to YouTube on your computer, and you would look up Rife frequency for whatever your particular ailment or malady is. In this particular one, we're going to go for Rife for Bartonella. So when you key that into YouTube, you're going to get a little menu that pops up, and you'll get maybe 5 or 6 different things that'll say Bartonella. You'll get a bunch that are advertising and a bunch talking about other things, but you want to pick one of the Bartonella ones that plays a tone. It's going to play a note. And when you click on it, you'll hear it go boom, or whatever that is. Some of them are really piercingly loud. Some of them you can hardly even hear at all. So it's, pardon me, I just have to change my little notes here and make sure I get it all in today. So just pick the one that you think is going to appeal to you in whatever way, and just listen to it. You can work on your YouTube or work on your Facebook or work on something else while you're listening to it. Or some of them ask you to actually watch because they do something visual as well. So I would encourage you to go online and experiment with this for yourself and just see what happens when you enter Rife frequency for Bartonella and listen to a Bartonella frequency. Now, next time I'm going to be telling you how to do a full treatment and also how to ramp up the effects of frequencies so that you can bring it into a slightly larger dimension. So I hope you've enjoyed this so far. Thank you so much for listening today, and we'll see you next time. God bless you all. Bye-bye.